A huge change has just happened in the financial sector that will be remembered in economic history. The SWIFT system has been the most important part of international payments for many years. A safe, though old, network that links thousands of banks and other financial institutions around the world. But that network is being taken apart right now. A new titan is taking its place, XRP. Yes, XRP is going live as the default way to make payments across borders. It is also a digital asset made for worldwide payments. But is actively taking the place of SWIFT, and the change starts at exactly 3 a.m. UTC. We are only a few hours away from a big change in the world's economy. This isn't just talk or guesswork. A secret memo from the SWIFT organization has gotten out, and what it says is shocking. The document says that by the end of the third quarter, all global banking systems will be moving to the XRP ledger in a structured and coordinated way. The memo's wording is plain, unambiguous, and urgent. Banks need to get ready now, or they'll be left behind. The tone isn't one of trying new things or doing things slowly. It has to be a pivot. And this change has huge effects. This is more than just a change in technology. It's a total transformation in how money moves, how institutions work together, and how value travels across borders. Why now? Let's look at the things that caused this big change. XRP is faster, more scalable, and more efficient than older systems like SWIFT. It can take SWIFT days to process a transaction. XRP settles transactions in 3 to 5 seconds. The difference in price is just as clear. Depending on the institutions and middlemen involved, sending money using SWIFT can cost up to $50 per transaction. What is XRP? Parts of a penny. And it's not just about how much it costs or how fast it is. It's also important to be reliable, open, and able to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, across time zones and jurisdictions. That's the kind of infrastructure that economies today need. This change isn't happening in a vacuum. The Bank for International Settlements (BIS), which is often termed the central bank of central banks, has put out a detailed paper saying that XRP should be used as a major settlement layer for central bank digital currencies, CBC. As this analysis says that XRP is the best asset to use as a neutral bridge between different sovereign currencies. This would let countries keep their own digital forms of fiat money, while making sure that money flows easily across borders. It does away with the necessity for large foreign exchange reserves, decreases systemic risk, and encourages quick international clearance. In fact, central banks in Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Americas have been discreetly implementing experimental programs that use XRP for large-scale CBDC settlements. Some of these projects are open to the public, but others are kept secret because they are sensitive to geopolitics. But the path is clear. The world is coming to an agreement that the financial infrastructure needs to be updated, and XRP has become the best tool for the job. It's even more surprising how quickly institutions are changing. Major banks, hedge funds, and sovereign wealth funds are buying XRP at an unprecedented rate right now. According to data researchers, XRP is being bought at a rate of more than $100 million each minute. This isn't something that happens in stores. This is a big accumulation of institutions. These companies are getting ready for what could be the largest change in the financial world in the last 100 years. Let's talk about what this could mean for prices for a moment. For years, a lot of people have wondered if XRP would ever be worth double or even triple digits. But for the first time, there is a real reason to make these kinds of predictions. Think about this. The global derivatives market is thought to have a total notional value of more than $1.20 quadrillion. If XRP takes up just 0.1% of that market as a settlement layer, it's possible that XRP may cost $1,000. Even the most cautious predictions put it far higher than it is now. This isn't a story about pumping and dumping. This is value that comes from usefulness, demand, and being part of a system. Some people who are skeptical still query if it's really possible to replace a system like SWIFT that has been around for so long. The honest explanation is that it has to do with how technology has changed over time. SWIFT was made in the 1970s, and although it has been modified over the years, it is still a patchwork system that needs a lot of manual effort and middlemen. In today's financial world, a real-time, frictionless infrastructure is a must. XRP satisfies all of those needs. It's quick, inexpensive, and ready to grow. It's been tested in warfare and is already being used by firms like Ripple to send money between Mexico and the Philippines. It's also being tested for interbank settlements in Japan, the UAE, and all around Latin America. XRP's consensus mechanism is another important part of what makes it strong. XRP works on a different consensus protocol than proof-of-work systems, like Bitcoin, or proof-of-stake systems like Ethereum. It doesn't need mining or staking at all. This lets you get a lot done quickly and with little energy use, which is becoming more and more important in a society that cares about the environment. and wants tech that is good for the planet. It also means that XRP can handle thousands of transactions every second and finish them, almost right away. As the 3 a.m. UTC deadline gets closer, banks all over the world are rushing to finish their integrations. Internal memos from big banks around the world are telling their teams to speed up their XRP node connections, finish integrating testnets, and get ready to switch to real traffic. Governments are also sending out warnings to make sure that currency controls and anti-money laundering systems can handle this new flood of financial data. This is more than just a crypto event. It's a geopolitical one. This change will be very good for the global south, which includes Africa, Southeast Asia, and parts of Latin America. These areas have not had access to efficient financial rails for decades. High costs, long wait times, and not being able to use correspondent banking have all slowed their economic growth. By doing rid of middlemen and letting people settle directly, XRP makes global finance more accessible to everyone. It's hardly an exaggeration to argue that this change might help millions of people who are currently financially excluded. Now, let's speak about the possible problems and risks. The change from SWIFT to XRP is not without problems, just like any other big change in technology. Even though the XRP ledger doesn't need authorization, others are worried about network centralization. People are worried about how well regulators are watching over things, how well taxes are being paid, and whether or not fake transactions can be undone. Institutions are doing their best to deal with these issues by putting KYC, AML, and other compliance rules in place at the interface layer. Also, there are worries about how prices may change when institutions first start using it, but the price should also steady as volume and utility do. Another problem is that people don't know about it. Even while institutional players are moving quickly, the typical citizen may not know what's going on. This gives individual investors and entrepreneurs a short amount of time to get into a new financial system that will soon be the standard. In this case, education will be very important. The more people know about how the XRP ledger works, the more they can safely take part in the ecosystem, whether it's through development, for business, or personal use. We also need to think about how smart contracts and tokenization fit in. Federated sidechains and new things like books make it possible for smart contracts to work on the XRP ledger. This means that the XRP ledger could soon be able to issue, transfer, and settle complicated financial instruments, real estate deeds, and even identity certificates. People are already building the infrastructure for a tokenized economy. So, what does this mean for us? The solution is easy. The end of the old financial world and the beginning of a decentralized real-time digital-first system is marked by the closure of SWIFT and the use of XRP. The next 12 to 24 months will change everything. More banks will migrate, more governments will add XRP to their financial tools, and more firms, from big e-commerce companies to small startups, will start using the ledger to move money around easily. If you're viewing this and don't know what to do, the first thing you need to do is be aware. Get to know the tech, follow the big names, keep up with changes in the rules. Think about how much risk you are taking on as an investor, developer, or business owner. The future isn't arriving, it's here, now. As we get closer to 3 a.m.